Alrighty, guys. So you have just been invited, or rather, you have been offered a large sum of money, which I hope you were keeping track of, by the way, by nearby nobles or semi-nobles who were asking to rent out this place for Angharen's Day. With this in mind, you guys have had an opportunity to push yourselves to renovate this place and to try and get it nice and lively in honor of Angharan and to spruce the place up as best you can. You negotiated that the guys that would be coming by here don't use anything other than the lower floors of this mansion that you have, or manor rather. And with that in mind, all you got to do is just like clear out the ground floor, make everything feasible. With that in mind, you have only like a day to prepare everything before your guests start streaming in. Of what is a family-friendly sort of evening of festivities and entertainment. Falson has continued in the background to continuously try to attract people into your place to garner it a name of some kind, while it's up to you guys to finally get the final nails and woodwork in and fixes in before all these guests come pouring in. You have a matter of hours at this point. Excellent. Yeah, so by all means, let's begin. Let's get you guys sorting your place out.
So we just start to clean, I guess.
Well, you've already cleaned this place very well enough. It's a matter that you've got an oven that still needs to be fixed. You've got lots of windows that are still boarded up. There is a matter of, like, Pong is waiting on their delivery of alcohol to arrive to you guys into your cellar. So, yes, fuck done to do.
We need a toilet. We need a working toilet.
That's exactly right.
So that takes priority.
And Megara's she says she's starting to go stir crazy because she hasn't been able to bake for the last 2 days. Though, I mean, for her, you don't really know what stir crazy means.
Interesting. So, what does that look like for your friends and companions as everything's starting to get a little bit stressful now that people have got to get things together?
Well, in Megara's mind, going stir crazy is that she might get a little bit pushy. just a tiny teensy bit.
Oh, okay. I'll love to see how that plays out, but yeah, definitely. So with that in mind, you guys ready, set, go, essentially. You will be on the clock, and you know what? Just to try to give you a feel and representation of how on the clock you are, I'm going to set a bit of a timer here. I'm going to give you guys 1 hour to get everything ready before your guests will really have all settled in. And your time begins now.
Alrighty, so split up Punk, Brewers Guild, make sure his stuff arrives and whatnot. Me, plumbers and cellarers, get toilet fixed, working. What will everyone else do?
Well, Megara again mentions that she ran into the blacksmiths who said they would help fix up the oven. She's just not aware how much. As soon as the price came into the equation, she mentioned that she would talk to you, and they kind of went off without giving a price.
How much money do we have?
Okay.
Like together.
So, what we originally had was 147.5 gold. However, they just dropped off a bunch of money in a sack to us. If I recall correctly, it was 750 electrum pieces. And
do you have it written on your character sheet?
Well, it's written in the chat up here. It was
I'm glad it's written somewhere. Yeah, I can see it right here. 500 gold pieces and 150 silver. I highly, deeply recommend you write this on one of your character sheets.
Yeah, and you did actually decide to switch it to electrum, so that way he wasn't carrying around as much. So
That's
it was
right.
yeah.
Yeah, you're exactly right there. It was 1 unit off, so it's a. Oh my goodness! What is Electrum to silver? Electrum is
It's 5 silver.
right. So 1,500 divided by 5. I can do this. 500. Nope. No. That's stupid. That's stupid. That's stupid. 300.
300.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Well done. Sound like you were almost trying to beat me there. No problem. But yes, exactly. So 300 Electrum, just to be easier coinage to carry around.
Mhm.
But yeah, you guys, you seem to know where you're off to. Sellers Guild, make sure Punk gets his delivery, all on and so forth, and
And
ironworkers.
also getting some actual food supplies, like just like flour and whatnot for bread in the morning, breakfast, stuff like that.
Excellent. No, absolutely, exactly. So that all sounds perfect with me. And with that, I think it's best to say that you guys divide and conquer. Razif, you are the bodyguard, so there's very little you need to do to prepare yourself. There's no form of CCTV in the Forgotten Realms yet. You could hire out a wizard to act with a bit of arcane scrying, perhaps, but no, in terms of security, all you can really do is patrol the perimeter and check for any likely vulnerable points of entry into this manor. Really, that's the best thing I can advise.
The bottom half is kinda not secured. We have like 4 entrances and a lot of windows.
You do have a lot of windows, yes. The only entrance to the ground floor is this door over here, and you have entryways to the place above. What is good to
Well,
yeah, what's good to say
Yes, well,
though is that
well.
if somebody's trying to come in from the outside to this side door, while they can loot everything else, they can't get to the ground floor. So at least any disturbance that way would be undisturbed.
Hmm. Yeah, I'll just stay in the house, I guess. Not patrolling, but someone is inside and no one steals or shit.
Very good, very good. All right, so with this in mind, I'm going to begin right off with Megara. And so, Megara, you know exactly what you need to do. You've brushed yourself off, you have tidied your hair, you've preened and trimmed some of your scaly tips and whatnot, and you've shined your horn and whatnot. As there's finally something that you can start putting your hands to. Once this oven gets made and once some food comes in, that's it. Then you can finally be the baker you need to be, the baker that helps express yourself with. So you're definitely very antsy, I imagine, to get around to all that. All right, so Avi and Embrick are still in the same place that you've left them to before. They've started work very early with mist and acrid sort of smoke rising and filling to wall of this like squat little building that's tucked between these other ones. And there's endless amounts of steam rising out from the chimney that kind of clouds out wide above the building below. But yeah, they are open and ready for business such as yourself.
Okay, so let's establish how much of the coinage Megara would have actually been given for her shopping.
I think for the case that all the money is being guarded by your watchdog Razuf, I think that's fair. And whenever you've got any transaction that needs to be dealt with and there's a delivery involved, you can pay on delivery. The money is all kept in the pot on Razuf, and you can work with whatever the amount the party has, essentially.
Okay then. So yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, Megara goes to the blacksmith.
And for the sake of sanity, Adrian just basically gave his pass off of like just keep a record of what you're spending and just use it.
Very good. All right then. So yeah, you come in and you can already hear that there is fire being pumped with certain pistons to blow air underneath it and to heighten its heat and intensity. As some sort of metallurgy is already at play this morning at the Steel and Steam shop, which you guys are currently in. And with that in mind, Magava, please lead the vanguard towards getting your place sorted.
So she, assuming that it's probably noisy, do they have like a bell that he can ring, or?
Oh, most definitely. It's in the form of like a. Do you know like a drum kick? You pound your like front
Yeah.
of the foot down, and the drum hits something. It's got
Yeah.
something similar to that, but with like one of their own like hammers that has been makeshift in a similar manner to strike a part of a shield helm, essentially.
Mhm.
And you give that a dong as it rattles in the place. And Embrick, the fire genocide, you remember, goes and says, Avi, get it! See who's out there! And he responds, you never feel like going up yourself, do you? Well, it'll take a while before you need me again. Fine, fine. And the water genocide, looking rather prim today, although that seems weird given that they're going to get mixed up with a bunch of dirt. It's just out of place. There's something weird there. But either way, he comes forward with the counter and he says to you, "Oh, Miss Megara, wasn't it? Very nice to see you again. I apologize again for my other half's poor behavior. It's just how he works. But I hope you did come in mind to get your forge sorted and done up."
Yes, I am indeed here for the repairs to the oven.
Well, excellent. I won't get Embrick involved until, the payment's done. He's usually much happier at that point. How much are you willing to barter this for? I mean, if you want it through us, but you are neighbours, and you will get a neighbourly rate, this could be arranged for about 200 gold.
Oh, that sounds absolutely splendid.
Right, very well. When do you need it done?
As soon as possible.
Well, we can definitely get this done within a 10-day. It's going to be heavy, so we're going to need some help. Well, with your Dragonborn would certainly help us out, I'm sure. But yeah, that's when we got some free time in our slot for an item your size rather.
Well then, so yeah, she says, well then, I guess, if you're going to, if you're going to bring it here, well, once we get back to Trollskull Manor, that's when I'll be able to hand over the payment. It's the Dragonborn that actually has the coin on him at the moment.
So maybe I mean, yeah, certainly that's all fine. But Megara, it's definitely a key note that these guys just said the earliest they can see you is within a 10-day. You need this sorted
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, she's thinking about that, but it's like it's hard to describe. Like she definitely seems very put off by it, but she is way too she's not a very confronting person. So
Well, all right then. All right.
she actually does, like, she says she's thinking about it and she's like, is there any way that you could maybe do it a teensy bit faster?
Avi says, well, certainly. All we're doing is repair jobs at the moment, upon which people are usually quite passable. How soon did you have in mind?
Well, maybe within a day or two.
I mean, to get it ready for these guys, you need to have it ready within like a couple of hours, less than half a
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
And the water genocide basically says, yes, we can do that. We usually do charge a premium for our rush job, though, and that would cost you about as much as the job is worth, which is 200 in this case.
It's worth noting that's literally almost all of our gold.
Yeah. Yeah. Megara does have a backup idea that we won't need the oven for if it's just for some more simple baking. In fact,
Yeah, I just hold my firebolt and you cook over my hands.
no, she's gonna do some bush cooking.
Hey, that could actually be playable, I mean, people are going to be outside in this October evening, fireworks kind of time, so your barbecue could very well be very okay here. Definitely.
Yeah.
It's very possible. So Avi sees that you're pausing like this, and he notices a bit of hesitation as he basically says that, well, I mean, well, you guys are local to Waterdeep, aren't you? You're living here now. Maybe being as you're a neighbor, you might owe us one. We could set that up. I mean, we have had many neighbors go through there, and we're happy to see it's no longer a ghost place, so we could do the rush job as part of a favor, if that works for you. And what they're implying is that they will want to have a favor over your head to ask at a later date.
Yep. So yeah, Megara is her eyes just light up, and she's like, "Oh, of course! Like, I'll be happy to help you with a favor later on."
And Avi just basically goes, alright then. Tell your Dragobor friend, if you can, to help Embrick bring your fireplace over to our forge, and we'll be able to fix it from there.
Thank you.
Oh, you're quite welcome, Megara. What's the need for the rush for?
Oh, we're having there's a party going on at our manor tomorrow. A local family has hired our floor for a get together.
That was for today. That being said,
Yeah.
however, they basically go, "Oh wow, well, that sounds excellent. Do you mind if we come visit?"
I don't see why not.
Ah, lovely.
I enjoy having company over.
Well, I'm very glad to hear it. Yeah, it would be good to get out of this steamy place once in a while, definitely. Well, Megara,
You can try my cooking.
I would love to try your cooking. That sounds lovely. And at that point, Embrick comes up and just goes, "What's taking so long? Oh, I remember you. How are you doing, Miss Miss Tifa? I mean, Miss Megara?"
Oh, I am doing absolutely well.
Oh, good. Good. Yeah.
In fact, I just came here with a job.
That's more like it. That's better. Alright, well, I take it Abby already has taken details, payment, promise, whatever. Anyway, if there's a job to do, let's get round to it. And with that, he already just starts walking out the door before waiting to hear more from Avi. So he just makes his own way to your manor, as Avi just basically is just looking dead inside. So yeah, anything else you want to attend to?
Well, she's not gonna leave them alone. She's gonna at least monitor the transaction. She doesn't want to just leave Razolf to his she's got to be there to explain why these genocide have suddenly come over. So
yeah, understood. No problem. So yeah, you follow afterwards, and with that, Embrick starts making his way straight for your fireplace or your cookery little place
Oven.
in your kitchen. Razov, he just comes in and he just walks by you as he's just morning. and he just like goes straight for your stove. He knows exactly where it is, and he's looking at it, not wasting any time, as he just goes straight to. So whereabouts are we looking here? How are we gonna get this off, Mr. Dragon? Come on, you got any claws in there? We can pry this off, as he says, looking around the sides.
That shouldn't be a problem.
All right, Scrumps, make me an athletics check made with advantage, please, as you're being assisted by this strong, firm fire genocide.
All right.
Let's see. So this is actually quite difficult. You are unable to get that much in. Embrick just basically goes, "Oh, fine," and he just like puts in the effort for it. However, the whole experience has kind of winded you, and I will have you have 1 point of exhaustion on your person.
I can live with that.
Yeah, that's fine. It's just the matter that you have just been winded in the whole excursion. But all in all, you do get your stove brought forward to the Steam and Steel. And from there, Embrick sort of gets speedily to work, looking at how he can fit it through the door. He does the old, to me, to you. No, I said to me. Come on, man. And he just basically keeps like barking at you as he's trying to like slam this stove through their back door and so on. But apparently he's confident it will happen.
So there is one question I have about all of this,
Yeah.
and that really does come down to the actual reason that, I mean, it's a metal stove. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Like I always assumed, especially for the kind of technology level they're at, ovens are usually stone.
So the outer wall is stone. You have got that right, but yours is a different combination of that. While the chimney does meet with sort of flagstones and firmer bases to the bottom of Troll Skull Manor, inside this stone compartment there has been a upgrade, or at least an interior that has this steel kind of oven in there. It's not a pure. I mean, if it's removed, you do have a fire pit. And you do have what you can see in the stone wall as like a bit of an alcove where you could slide in some kind of tray of some sort, and you could be able just to hold something up there. I mean, it seems as though it was a fireplace first, and then somebody down the line shoved a metal oven inside with a flume that basically, or flume, that may not be right, but a funnel that basically
flume.
leads up the stone one.
Yeah, fair enough.
Maybe the
yeah,
reason
that makes sense now.
the reason that this may be was so that the smoke that was generated didn't loiter around on the ground floor and was more focused up, given how low to the ground the base of the fire would be. But you'd have to ask the tenants wherever they were.
Yeah, just the fact that you mentioned the flume, just that straight away, I'm like, okay, yeah, that makes a lot more sense now. Yeah, got an old fireplace like that.
Excellent, yeah. I'm glad I can clear that up. So, yeah, you guys are hauling this thing in, this, like, cauldron-ish sized metal stove as it comes forward, and with some success. And you bring it into the workshop where you're assaulted and your scales, the pair of you, is drenched in condensing steam as you feel like you're being steamed for your lungs as the heated smell of copper and iron hangs in the water rather as you breathe it in this steamy workshop.
Hope it doesn't continue doing that.
Well, it is a forge, so they're gonna keep at it, and it's gonna be like this. But you don't have to stick around.
Yeah, just for tomorrow and stuff.
Embrick looks it over as he just basically goes, now I can get a good light on it. He somehow thinks as you're in the most condensed, heavily obscured part of your alley, as he basically looks it over as he just goes, I'm glad you checked it over with me, but actually this is a pretty simple job. I could hand it back to you within an hour. This is just a matter of heating it up and then cooling it back down to make the metal a tad more durable. Don't worry, we'll add a light flavouring of magic touches. I mean, my father Jin heritage, it'll grant a little flavour in there. It'll be able to stand a bit more fiery hemorrhaging if you choose to give it. But leave it with me. I think this will be an easy job.
Okay then. Well, I've got some other shopping to do. Razov, if you would pay the man, or do you take the payment upon delivery?
Embrick is already at work as he's just kind of like, look at this groove here. Yeah, what was this? A dwarf? A human? I can't make it out. It's a bit odd. And Avi basically comes forward to intercept as he basically says, whenever's convenient. There's no rush on this.
Right. I'll go up to my room and take it.
Very good, yeah. You head back across the alley, get your money, and you bring it back down to pay the gentleman 200 gold and one favor.
Yep. Which
Very
we
good.
don't know about yet.
Don't know about
Yeah.
yet. They don't know about yet. It's just neighborly favors. Maybe it's a cup of milk. Maybe you have to fend off a gay bashing couple, or maybe you have to fight some kind of eldritch creature. We don't know.
We'll find out.
We'll find out. All right, so that's one business dealt with, and you guys are 1/3 for your time, or basically almost halfway through. Megara, you head on over to the market straight away, as you can see that Razov has this underhand, and your main mission is to find the Bakers Guild. You have not signed up in any way to any kind of membership with them, but you are very well aware of where any of their bakery stalls can be found. There is a whole host of places that will be selling fresh bread, freshly baked today, and all their suppliers are well and easily found. There are about, in all of Waterdeep, a good 5 wholesalers of the ingredients that you need, about 1 in each kind of district, which makes about as much sense. And each one of these distribute to all the local vendors and stall marketers that are found everywhere around, that they kind of make their own stuff up. You could also find it as fresh as you can possibly get if you wanted to go out of the town and to go towards the area of Undercliff. So far, we haven't talked much about Undercliff, but Undercliff is just out of the city. It's where the farms of Waterdeep are situated, with some well-known farms like the Snowbeetle Orchard and Meadery. Of course, a collection of wheat, grain, and horticulture to gather in for some alcohol brewing, of course. And over to the north, we got a men's farm, which you can't remember what they're suitable for, but in between this area is where there is a variety of this is where the herbs and crops were most likely grown. That being said, however, that you are a local, so you'll know this. Outside the city walls, the exact city walls that then go down off towards the surrounding areas, things get a little bit unlawful. There is a heavy, steep sort of decline from what Waterdeep life is like inside the city walls and what it's like outside. Undercliff, you could see basically paupers and poor boys that are wearing hand-me-downs that are looking nice and fine, and there might be a variety of influences that passes by this area and gives it trade, but at the same time, the City Watch does not concern itself outside of this wall. And anything they basically see, within this 0.1 mile radius is all they concern themselves with, and everything beyond that is essentially up to the locals to deal with. So it's going to be a rougher part of town, but you're welcome to tread through it if you like.
Well, she doesn't want to spend too much time going out traveling to go shopping, to try and get it directly from the source. So she will instead just go to one of the more local bakeries
Yeah, no problem.
or markets.
Certainly. So you could take on the grandest market Waterdeep has to offer and try your luck at that like mega structure of trade, or you might declare to me what kind of ward you want to go to get your goods today. All of them will have some kind of bakery wholesalers, and there will be a variety of what kind of grain that bread is, or the dough is, or the quality of what you're buying. It might be a surprise, but basically to narrow this search down, I want you to declare a ward that you want to search within.
So she would definitely, going by the logic that the North Ward is the closest to the farms,
Okay.
she would think that maybe like there is a nearby market within the North Ward or nearby bakery in the North Ward that she's gonna try and see, talk to them and say, it's like, do you get your bread from, do you get your grain from the farms outside? And she's trying to basically get a sort of insider knowledge of.
Very well, that's totally fine. I will warn you that Waterdeep is a competitive place, and if people think you're going to cut in on their turf, they're going to do their best to shoo you out. We'll get back to the results. In fact, I want you to give me a persuasion check now before we roleplay that situation.
Okay. Should have had my character sheet open from the start, but
It happens, I don't move players across the correct screen almost exclusively half the time. Very good. We'll remember that roll and we'll move on. Punk, we're going over to you now, as you have been expecting your delivery to arrive today, but clearly they're behind on schedule. Now they could say that today means at midnight, but you need it a bit earlier. You need to get everything hooked up and open so you can get things pouring. So you need to take matters into your own hands and go back to your elf lady.
This wouldn't do, yip. I'm going to go to meet my old lady there.
This lady, if I remember correctly, is Feodril.
Yes.
Excellent, I got that name right. Ferodril. Very nice, very nice. So, you go over back to the Sea Ward, of course, sticking out as a carrot in as much as a carrot can in a bit of porridge. I don't know. That's a very weird, I don't know what I'm saying. Either way, though, you come forward back to the lustrous blue Royal Navy-like part of town, and you go straight to your guild. The guild is currently having a very quiet day at the moment, as nobody is arriving. Only the shop front is open, and inside you can see yet again that Ferodril is sort of there with her glasses, and she is basically reading a book. Give me a perception check, please. Okay, the book is titled Dragons and How to Please Them. And there's a
wow.
yeah. There seems to be this sort of heart figure that sort of embosses the cover, of which the text is warped within, and it has like a very dark pink sort of color to the front cover of the book. She's currently just reading that, and you approach her.
Andrew?
She slams the book with a quick movement and throws the book down onto the floor as she snaps in immediate attention to her work in her desk as she looks at you as if nothing happened. And she just says, "Oh, Punk! Oh, thank you for coming back. What can we do for you today? Have you had your shipment yet?"
I had the first shipment. I did order the second one. The second one doesn't come yet.
You're quite right. Give me a second here. And she opens up a new lodge book, and she runs her fingers down it. She basically goes, All right, so yes, this was meant to be half of a moving wagon that was hired out. It was going to travel all the way down to the dock ward, and it was half Hammond's goods and half your stuff. It was meant to have stop midway towards, the North Ward, to make its deposit to you first thing in the morning, before going down to Troll Skull Manor. Um, the rider's name should be called Berry, Berry Duran, and I haven't got anything else on that. He's just a freelancing wagon hoarder driver. Yeah, a free wagon driver basically. As he's just moving it around today. You'll have to see. Okay, so if he didn't take okay. She basically thinks about this and she opens up another book before you as she's like going through. Okay, Dock Ward. Mm hmm. Mm hmm. Ah, okay, yes. So the place that you want to check out, Pong, in case that stuff has gone straight to the Dock Ward, which I think it has, you need to go towards Fishka Alley.
Hmm. And you believe that that's where the overdue stuff gonna be there?
Yes, I think that if they didn't get delivered to your place, that there's been a mix-up, and they're taking it all the way down to Fishka Alley in the Dock Ward.
Right, yep. I gonna go there then. This and I proceed to go out, but when I go there, I'm probably going to stealth my way in just in case.
Oh, yes, certainly. All right, Punk. I wish you the best. Stay safe, okay?
Thank you.
As you begin to walk away, she very carefully goes back to her book. And now, carrying on, it is Lapis. Your turn.
Indeed. To go to the Plumbers and Cellars Guild and get toilets that are working.
So, yeah, what you essentially want is there's sewers beneath you. You just want some kind of oiled pipework to be installed so that this will function nicely. And
Yes.
yes, that's a very fair request. It's done on multiple occasions for many of the residents here. It's not usually a job that can be rushed. But yes, you go to the Cellars and Plumbers Guild, and as you get there, you come forward to what appears to be a. You come towards what you can appear to just be seeing as rubber can come from a tree naturally. It can be formed. Yep. You see a signpost that is just one big plunger.
Nice.
Nice, excellent. And the place is not like a shop or whatnot. It is just a kind of managerial site that you have approached, and it's not a very high tech place. High tech, high and fancy place. The outside. It has just a small, simple walkway, and inside there's a staircase that leads you directly upwards along some kind of shabbily stone-like brickwork, which you can find over in the trade ward as you make your way over that way.
Alrighty. Head on into the to managerial type site for the Plumbers and Cellars Guild and see what I see.
Certainly. So on the second floor, you can actually see that the place appears to be rather bare. There doesn't seem to be a lot going on, aside from the fact that across the place you can see that there are a couple of. You can see that there are a couple of suits, like overhauling kind of suits that are covered with dirt and nasty smelling grime of some kind that have all just been like thrown out into a pile right in the center of this room. And around the place, you see that there is just like empty office doors and whatnot that would lead into private rooms and consultations, but all of which appear to be kind of empty at the moment.
Okay, is there a front desk or anything?
As you look through this place, it's kind of like you would see somebody. But then, a little moment later, you can hear from to the side of you, up another pair of stairs, you can hear the footsteps of what appears to be a little halfling fellow. This halfling fellow has a freshly shaven face, slick back hair, while he seems to be adored with a couple of earrings that are simple silver earrings rather, that are tied one each. As he currently comes down to you, and he appears in some simple kind of blue and dark reddish sort of overalls. As he approaches and he just goes, "Oh, you want in the guild? Oh, I'm sorry, they're only here every other Tuesday. But I live upstairs and I rent the place out to them. They may be an honorary member. I shouldn't really be taking your details, but can help you out if you be needing something."
Oh, jeez, every other Tuesday. Yes, sir. If you could help me out, it would be greatly appreciated.
They are difficult to manage, yeah. They just don't have the funds to rent this place out all the time. You think like they would, but usually they're just a bunch of freelancers that loosely tie into this guild. It's a tricky business. It's tricky to know, but you'd be needing someone straight out there. I take it.
You're absolutely correct. I do need some rush work done.
Well, he says that as he kind of like idly slaps his cheek while he thinks on this. As he's just like, "I'll be willing to do the job for you. We'll sort the details later. But problem of the matter is, you're going to be needing some piping. We haven't got any around here. You'll have to talk to one of our wholesalers. That won't be good. All right, I tell you what. Over in the sewers, there's a bunch of pipe works. Usually, what we do is when a building no longer can afford its plumbing, we usually just keep the pipes underneath the building in case new residents come up, which it has today. We'll have a look in the sewers and see if there's some pipes left over from the previous tenants. If they're there, we can sort the rest out. Sound good?
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Alright, let's help to it. You probably, well, want to get by there sooner rather than later. What's your name, lad?
Oh, I'm Adrian Fairbrand. A pleasure to meet you, and I hold out my hand to shake his.
He goes to hold your hand as well and he gives it a shake. Give me a strength saving throw, please.
His hand is just covered in shit.
No, that would be a constitution saving throw to avoid you being sick. Give me a strength saving throw.
I'm bad at those,
Hey, not today.
but
He
I'm
has
well at it.
Yeah, he has a mighty fine grip. Jesus Christ. It does not match his physique, his demeanor. He most certainly does not look as strong as he is, but you can feel like your hand is going to break in his, as he just basically has this unassuming power to him. But he basically just goes off and says, "All right, let's get to it." And he starts making his way down the high road with you back towards Trelskull Manor.
Confirmed he's actually an Oni.
An Oni, interesting choice. I like it. I like it.
Please don't make him an Oni. We'll all die.
I mean, you need some spice here. You've been lacking the spice. You've had a very day-to-day life. You need to be reminded this is a magical world of danger. You know? So anyway, with that in mind, yes, you start bringing him over, and when you get outside the building, you can see that everybody's sort of getting busy and whatnot. You and he go down to the nearest manhole cover while you're first like, well, hang on, where is it? I've never been looking for one. And the guy basically says, "Oh yeah, no, I've been down this way before. Right, yeah. Follow me, lad." And he takes you to let me
Hold
just-
on.
Yeah, hold on.
I've been in the sewers before. I saw. Well, I didn't see the Mind Flayer actually, but I saw the Intellect Devourer, the Duragar, the half orc that tried to murder us, the goblin that stabbed us and ran away. I don't want to go down in the sewers alone with this random dude. So while we went by the manor, I would try to get at least one more person to come with me, whoever's there.
Well, yeah, you're by the manor with your friends, so that's perfectly permissible.
So who wants to go down in the sewers for a good time?
For a good time.
I think it would just be Megara and Razoth there because Ponk is still chasing after the wagon.
Well, Magava is busy because they are dealing with foodstuffs for you guys, and Ponk is busy,
Yeah.
so it really is just Razov who could join you in there.
And if that were the case, then Megara would have to watch the gold while Razoth goes down,
Yeah.
probably. Because Ponk might still come back. And yeah, so.
So
Yeah.
do you
Are-
drag me? Do you drag me to the sewers?
If you would like to, I will go alone if need be. I am just worried about going down in the sewers alone with a strange halfling. That's, WWE legend Hulk Hogan secretly.
No, John Cena secretly. He just hasn't realized his potential yet.
Oh shit, he has an invisibility spell.
Can John Cena do that?
It's that thing, like he waves his hand in front of his face and he's like, "You can't see me" or some shit. It's so dumb.
Come on, no. Oh my jeez. Well,
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. So carry on.
Yeah. So, pass off the gold to Magara and we'll head down into the sewers.
Right,
Yep.
very well. So you mentioned like no time, gotta jump in the sewers. You'll thank me later, and you just head right in, and you uncover that there is a entranceway into the sewers to be found right here. Not easily found on your map, but yeah, I wonder if it's something here, just to the back. No, but it can be found right in this corner. Right there. So I'll actually move your little token you made there. And yeah, draw a shape. Circle. There we go. Yeah, you got it. You got it. So it can be found there.
Okay.
Can't click it, so that's where it is for life. And yeah, you make your way down into the sewers as this ladder that is there descends 20 feet before going into a variety of pipeworks and whatnot. Right, yes, so I will... yeah, I'm going to move you guys over here. Bless you.
Oh, see, there's a map. This is bad.
Oh, it doesn't have to be bad. Maybe it's just there's something hidden and you got to move a puzzle. What if it was a puzzle? What if I was a cool DM and it was a puzzle? Ever thought about that? If I was cool?
I just hope it's not a
That
puzzle that
entire
relies
pool
on
is actually Yelena's cube, isn't it?
No, of course not. Why would that be the case?
It's black pudding.
But green. It's disguised. Oh
I'm
God.
colorblind.
Oh no. I'm sorry.
Which part are we on?
You're coming in on the right-hand side. Over
Alrighty.
there. So yeah, as you guys go on, this guy basically says, "So you all know how to handle yourself, right? Usually this kind of stuff is done with a bunch of, a bunch of stronger-looking sorts. I mean, the Dragonborn, he looks strong, but you're able to handle yourself in a fight, aren't you, Mister Adrian?"
I just quickly hold a fire bolt and just let it go away so we can see.
Ah, good. I prefer seeing fire with people. It sets me at ease, you know. Ooh. So he basically just puts his hand forward and he comes out here as he's just looking. We should be underneath the place. I'm just not seeing anything quite yet. Have a look around and everybody make me a perception check.
Actually, okay. And if so, you can make me roll at disadvantage for perception if you want for this.
Why is that?
During this time, I want to get out the copper wire and use message to to Magura and be like, "We're in the sewers. By the sounds of it, something might go wrong. Listen for the sounds of screams from the sewer."
What copper
Basically.
wire? Sorry.
The copper wire is just the material component for the message cantrip.
Ah, nice, nice. Okay, yeah. I like it that you
So-
also have a requirement of a small little cup, and you just basically just like it's like a little phone, a cup phone with a wireless
Yeah.
transceiver. I
Yeah,
like that.
I'm one of those people that thinks the material components of D&D spells are stupid because it's like you're basically making a bloody cup phone.
But that's what makes it beautiful in a sense, you know. Grounds
it
everything
depends.
down.
Like, if it's anything that's actual money worth, the material components make sense.
Mm.
You know, like if you need a 500 gold diamond, it makes sense to have it because the spell is powerful. Like for
Yeah.
instance, reviving spells. I can't remember the name of. But yeah.
Whoa,
Resurrecting
Adrian,
that, yeah.
you missed out on a crit. Anyway, so
Oh,
you said you did it at disadvantage for some reason.
because I was doing the message cantrip. I said
Yeah.
if you wanted to put it at disadvantage,
Oh
though.
no,
because
that isn't a
okay.
disadvantage worthy thing, you know. So yeah, you automatically determine that. Yep, there it is. You can see on the other side of this dark little, on the other side of this soupiness, in this kind of intersection, you can see that there is a pair of like pipes that have been strapped to the wall in some kind of. It's weird. It's like there's a bit of tarp over it, and that tarp has been nailed to the top of the wall. So it's interesting, but you get a sense immediately that those are the pipes, and that they are underneath your house. And you relay this to your little halfling friend, and he basically confirms it. Ah, yeah, you're probably right. All right, so let's make our way over. He carefully takes a couple of steps through the sewage and whatnot. Just lots of waterworks, really. It's not.
Wrong. I follow behind a little bit.
Yeah, certainly. Razov, what do you get up to?
I don't want to step in the sewage.
By the way, I'm doing what I normally do. I'm casting prestidigitation to clean this up, so I'm not stepping in shit.
Excellent.
You can't clean the whole sewer.
I'll tell you what he does.
I will try. Damn it!
I'll tell you what you do. You know how in DreamWorks Moses, you just step in and the water sort of drifts bloody red as it spreads out?
Mm-hmm.
You do the reverse, but everywhere you step, everything behind you just turns back to nasty shit.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And
Continue on.
you begin to make your way on. You see a little flicker of water splashing in the distance over here.
I am going to do a hold action for my firebolt if I see something pop up.
Very
And
good.
I use Divine Sense.
Divine Sense. What you can determine with Divine Sense creatures of Fiend, Fey. What else?
Celestial, Fiend, or Undead.
All right. You use it. You do not determine any of those following.
Sewer crocodiles.
Ooh.
Probably.
And this little guy, he continues on forward as he's just like, well, whatever it is, let's just. Maybe it won't bother us if we just quietly move along. And suddenly a snapping jaw comes right at him, as indeed it is some kind of snapping crocodile. You guessed it. Although it's not quite crocodile in nature, it appears as though it is some sort of giant lizard-like thing.
Oh, jeez. Would that trigger my firebolt then?
Yes, it will. But firstly,
Okey-doke.
he will lash out to make an attack on your little friend. Shibidi-ba, di-ba-ba, di-ba-ba-ba-ba. All right, that is going to be a miss. And this little guy is just like, whoa! And he just like leaps out and just like a backflip as he just lands into this little sideways. He's just like, I did that! Whoa, I did that! As he just is like super proud of escaping that. But yeah, roll me initiative.
Uh,
All right.
First though, because you said I had it held my fireball, which misses. Okay.
It
I
does.
really don't want to.
Well, it
walk
doesn't
in the
miss.
sewers.
It's just that he's like all wet with water and whatnot. That it's no problem avoiding the brunt of the fiery damage that you deal into him. All right,
Okay.
nice one.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yes, you're up.
First thing I'm going to do is scream
Ah!
at the top of my lung.
Ah!
Hope that Magra hears it, like I had said with listen for screaming from the sewers.
In the sewers, no one can hear
And
you scream.
while I scream, I'm gonna cast a witch bolt.
Oh, of course, absolutely. All right, that is a hit. Very nice. And
I'm also going to back off a bit.
you shoot a lightning arc into the water. The
Bit
water.
more
Mm.
because I want to be behind the person
Mm.
that is supposed to be like the bodyguard.
Yes,
Yeah, who's standing
yes.
all the way back?
The water.
Yeah.
Mm. All right. Because this is something lightning, and lightning usually follows dexterity. No, actually, no. So what happens is that there is a spark of that same electricity that surges through the water, lights it up, and has it sort of just. It's not really spark. It's more sparking in his area, but for the rest of it, I want you to give me a very small Constitution saving throw, please.
All right.
That was directed to Adrian, but also to you, I
Oh.
suppose.
Right.
Adrian, you're fine. You had a little bit of the spark sort of catch you and sort of make you jump at your feet, but that did not have you break your concentration over your spell. And Razif, you felt the little spark that jumped at your feet, and you were not in any way like distracted by it.
Just felt it.
You just
Right.
felt it, yes. It is the giant lizard's turn, and he he will like go under the water, just like diving right in, hiding his presence. As you can clearly see that he's like coming forward to you, and he comes right underneath this like flowing pipe that like flows into this little contributory here. And from this position, Razif, I want you to make me a strength saving throw, please.
I can do that.
Let's see what you get. All right,
I
you
can do that.
succeed. He just tried to snag your ankle and drag you underneath the surface so that he could drown you, but you were much too powerful and you just like kicked his mouth away with your foot. There we go.
Give
But
him the boot.
yes, but he is nicely hidden underneath this thick ichor. He is fully like concealed underneath it all. Adrian, the case of Witch Bolt relies on you being able to see this creature, doesn't it?
Not being able to see it, it has to be within 30 feet, and it can't have. If this counts as total cover, then yeah, Witch Bolt is out.
But
if it doesn't,
yeah, for the purposes
count
of
as-
how it's hidden, it's essentially very well camouflaged, and it's like underneath that water by just a skim amount. So I'm going to rule that it is not taking full cover from your thing. It is in fact visible in this case because your lightning strikes it and like hisses the foamy dark water on its back as it continues to be like lightened up by your electric sparks of energy. So yeah, you can be able to see it right here.
Sweet.
Very
Okay.
nice. With that, it was just Isco. So Razif, it is now your turn.
All right. I attack him with my mace.
Very nice. Let's see it. Oh, wait, I was reading the strength throw. That is a hit.
Right. And I also use my divine smite.
Ooh, all right. 2d8 extra in there, please. Oh, nice. Oh, nice. Very nice damage. Yeah, with that smite, you bash this lizard's head in one fell smack as his body kind of splashes and ripples out the dark sewer water wide as he just like floats until his back goes belly up and he dies before you. Blood, greenish blood mixing rather beautifully with all the shit.
Insect.
Pretty much in comparison to your strength. Yeah.
While it's still there, I'll try to skin it. Nice, not skin it. Try to take one of its eyes out.
Done. Yeah. That what weapons do you have on you, or what kind of equipment do you have?
I will note, he
No
might not
knife.
have, but I do have a dagger, and that would probably be seen if he wanted to borrow it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll borrow it.
You easily gouge out the eye with little difficulty as you get that sorted, and yeah, you keep a trophy eye. It might be worth something. Yeah.
Get a glass bottle and put it in there, and hopefully it'll last.
Might make a nice magic potion. You never know. With that being said, this little
Wait,
fella.
what?
Oh, gone.
What one monster is it?
It
it name?
is a giant lizard.
Alright, fine.
Yeah. I'm gonna burp. Oh, excuse me. Basically, the little halfling basically like salutes to you as he's basically like, "Well, cheers for that. I would have had a difficulty by myself. Let's get this plumbing job sorted for you." With him in tow, he basically comes to the top, and with assistance from you guys lifting him up to the other side, he interestingly kind of lowers the top, and the pipes seem to be folded, like when you have string that, or like a stretchy string that goes between several little components of a toy. When it's relaxed, all the components are light and wobbly, and they aren't firm. But when the string is taut, they all snap together in a single column. It's not visible, whatever it is, but the pipes here are exactly the same. They are all bent up to be compressed, but with his hand going over it, the pipes form into a single column that snap in heavy clunk, 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 as they line up into a single column. And from there, he basically holds the bottom of it as he goes, 1 for the money, 2 for the show, 3 for the dragons, here we go! Whoosh! And he just like sends it like a telescope or periscope that you would find in a submarine to look through to see the top. He just like throws the whole column up, and it goes through the bottom of this what apparently should be stone wall, as if it was made of like a smooth air chamber. It just goes straight up and rises until the pipe bottom is hanging out at the base of this little tube, and you have a straight shot privy made in your home.
Oh, also, I'm gonna cast message to Magra and just be like, would you happen to have any use for a giant lizard corpse? And she can reply to that.
Yeah.
She lives it lives in the sewer. She wouldn't taste best.
Well,
You can clean it.
I mean, it's like when you find a whale that comes up into your shores. Sure, it's an entire whale, but its guts are filled with plastic bags. So, God only knows what this giant lizard has like. But you know what? Who cares? Good eating when you're living rough.
Yeah, I don't want to, but if you want to, I'll stop you.
I messaged Magra asking if she wants a giant lizard corpse.
Yeah,
It's up to her to say what she wants.
She basically replies with I have no idea what we would do with that.
Ooh.
Aren't you a baker?
Oh,
you're not a
Magava,
but
I've got an idea, which is an idea you may have. Give me a baker's tools check, please.
Okay then.
You have it with +5.
Right. Okay. So one thing. Okay. What? Cook's utensils. Okay. Here we go.
Yeah.
So
I only
what
say
attribute?
attribute. Good question. I want you to use wisdom for me, please.
Huh. Okay. And with the +5, that would still be
10. Oh, it's a low roll, but you know, using a giant lizard is a tricky thing to do. You reckon you could, you know, kind of. You were thinking barbecue, and I mean, you could just spit roast this whole giant lizard and stuff
yeah.
a giant apple in its mouth, or maybe like a pumpkin in its mouth, perhaps. You know, just
Well,
We're just
Or
like the
actually-
rednecks of Troll Skull Alley,
yeah.
picking up roadkill and
but
cooking it
that's
out
the
back.
thing. It's like, okay, what is her ability to reply? Like, because she would instead reply like, where did you find it, kind of thing.
You may
But
answer.
then again, you
Yeah, you can answer immediately using 25 words or less.
okay. So yeah, the other message you said you were in the sewer, so she's going to assume that you found it in the sewer. So her reply would actually be along the lines of, it's like, what would I do with a sewer lizard? That sounds diseased.
Yeah, that fits. That fits. I'm going to allow this messaging to go back and forth for a bit while you've got this upside down lizard on its back. Yeah, reply back in 25 words.
I have no clue what you do with it. Clean it out, make some pot roast. I'm
Slow
not a
cook it.
cook.
Well, isn't Magara a baker, not a butcher?
Well, she's an all around cook. She just prefers baking.
Alright.
You could bake it into the bread, you know? I mean, giants are grinding them bones into bread. You could figure out a way to just, like, mulch all of this giant lizard and just keep slipping its organs into bread.
Use its scale and skin to make yourself some leather armor.
Yeah.
She basically replies, we will get a cleric to purify it first.
Well, you do have
We-
Falson, actually, for that.
Yeah. And I can purify food, but I don't know about a giant lizard.
Technically, all of it is food once dead.
You know what? Yeah, that's a point. So this halfling fellow, after hearing you guys talk about how you're going to scavenge this giant lizard, is just
Like
basically,
I said, we're rednecks.
yeah. He's just basically like he just goes. I want to say I've heard worse things, but honestly, that's the more tame thing that I've heard of happening in the city. Yeah. Anyway, would you help me give me a boot? I gotta scurry up this thing. And he notions for you to actually like pick him up and to like try to squeeze him up your own like privy pipe.
Alright.
Yeah, both of us will help out with that.
You give with a bit of
Okay.
extra oomph, and he like shimmies there as his feet are dangling. He kicks them back and forth with his large halfling feet, and he just goes. And he just basically starts shimmying his way up this pipe. And occasionally you hear him. You just hear him knocking against it as he's going up it further and further. As he's clearly like trying to check something here and make sure everything's sound. And yeah, he pops up at your house, leaving you both down here.
I just imagine like Megara sort of walking past the privy as this gnome just comes popping out of the toilet.
He was a halfling. We're gonna make him a gnome
A
now because
halfling,
I
yeah.
like that better. I like gnome better.
Yeah.
It makes more sense to me. But yeah, he's just like, well, he's there, and somebody may be there. Oh, it's gonna be our Dragonborn, who's just like, time to pamper myself, and just like scurrying up, just goes, and she's like looking down to try and figure out what it is. But because there's no light, she can't make it out until there's just this rising, bulging mass, and she's just like arming her spells. And then up comes a head and goes, "Oh, hello."
The toilet gnomes are a known staple of Waterdeep.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
They're proud of our proud culture.
I mean, it's up there with the Dung Sweepers Guild. Absolutely.
Exactly.
So yeah, while he just like makes an appearance to some of your other house members, you guys consider how you can take this giant lizard out from the sewers and bring it back home to the surface. Ponk, I'm going to go back to you now. You have made your way back over to the dock ward, as over here you can see that you're back at Fishka Alley. You may remember this alley if I've got this all correct, because this was where you were at before. It has this huge anchor that's in the middle of the building. So you recognize the place, and being as this is the only tavern on this alley, you figure that this must be the place.
Is this the place? Pong is going to like go into this mine. Doesn't seem to be any more than that. Let's go in, yip.
So you head on in, and it is as much of it has as many dregs of society as you remember it having. Hard-working sailors that smell of salt, brine, and BO and sweat, as they're currently just having midday drinks quietly, while you can definitely see that there is an attendant who seemingly is dressed in a finer garb, though he is wearing a cloak over that, who is basically talking to the tavern keeper, and he's kind of stood at the bar having a brew, while it's clear that the barkeeper is counting some money out for him, as if having done a business transaction with him. The gentleman himself appears to be a human, a pretty scrawny human at that, who appears very deathly pale and doesn't look at all healthy. But other than that, that's the scene before you.
I'm gonna go to the bartenders
You do so.
and like, excuse me.
The bartender reaches his brawny forearm over the counter as he just goes, "Huh? Who was
I
saying that?
assume
Oh,
out of character, I assume I do have the papers of the lock.
yeah, you have an Ferrodrill definitely made sure that if these did get mixed up, that you had the paperwork to claim it all back. As basically, you come forward and yeah, roleplay it. You have some papers.
Yeah, you see, there have been some sort of mistakes on the bureau's guys' end. Apparently, there have been some mix-up. I have the paper right here. I want to make sure that does any of my goods end up with yours by mistake? And I hand him the paper.
This deathly white fellow looks towards you with some very bloodshot red eyelids as he basically just goes, oh, excuse me. What have you got here? Oh. And he looks over the paperwork as he's basically like, is this the only form you've got of this copy?
Oh, I have another. But this one is one of many.
He just basically, I think that's not quite true. You only have this one copy on your person, Twist. So give me a deception check, please. Okay. He basically just goes, and he hands it back to you as he just says, well, Hammond was paying me about 10 gold so that you wouldn't get it. What can you offer me to make sure you do get it?
Let's see.
Not reporting you to the City Watch.
You could do that, Ponk, certainly.
Or I could at least cost it. I have two choices right now. A, I could do just that. Or B, I go down making a cocktail that knocks your socks off and trade the patents, the license of that drink to him, and I get my stuff back.
Wow.
I'm
He's
trying to
just the
think which one I
he's
should
just the
go.
delivery boy way. I don't think he cares about patents on cocktails.
Hey, if a patent sets him up for life and he can just get a brewery guild just to sell it and he gets a franchise right for it, then he's fucking set for life. He can stop doing this carting business. He'd be open to it.
Or you can just say you'll give him 20 gold once, but the gold is back at the manor, and then just not pay him.
All possible.
Because crime never pays.
Hey, exactly. But yeah, you're welcome to do that.
Okay. I gotta look. Let me do a perception check to see what kind of drink that can be mixable. At least from behind the bar.
That's not a perception at all. You can tell what ales are there. There's one bottle of wine, which is Fire Dragon's Red, which is actually a pretty low brand wine, despite the fact it involves a dragon, so it speaks highly of itself. But that's the only one he's got. Other than that, he's just got a collection of barrels of the same similar kind of mead and ale and ciders that can be brought.
I can make this work. Look, I have two choices for you. We can go a hard way or the easy way. A hard way, I could just simply report you for your action. Or the easy ways, I can make you a drink and we trade off the license of that drink.
The guy considers this. He puts a very bone-thin kind of hand and he taps it over his lips, his bottom lips, as they appear dry. And he goes to yourself, well, I like the sound of the... Excuse me. Anyway, yeah, I like the sound of that drink franchise. That sounds like a more than better deal than what Hammond was offering me. So, alright, what have you got?
Alright. Let's see. First thing first, he looks sick. So there should be some drink that can cure that up. Usually a dark rum or a bandery. I'm not sure if they have any. But that dragon is enough, the cheap one. And let's see if I can do any mixing with this. Tell you what, you look very terrible, but I'm gonna make you something more energizing.
God, please, yes. If you can give me a day where I don't feel I'm gonna cough up my lungs, then, yeah, I'll be yours. Yeah. So, Twist, very simply, give me a brewer's tools kit as you mix a match.
Question is what attribute?
What attribute? Well, like making magic items, perhaps you need some kind of monster part that might have some rejuvenating kind of extra kick to it that might give it that edge to make it a bit better, a bit hardier. You know, you can't make a smoothie cocktail to get you your 5 a day if you don't mix it with fruit and veg. And likewise, if you just get a collection of drinks that have been made from barley and herb and whatnot, then it's nothing different than what he's maybe had in his life. You got to add something that's definitely got a bit of a vital kick to it, you know?
So I'm going to make something that equal a flaming mole.
A flaming mole?
That's from The Simpsons. It actually does cure coughing and sickness.
Excellent. We'll call it the flaming mo. Excellent. I like it.
All right, but still the question is what attribute?
What do you mean? Oh, with your brewery's tools. You're thinking of a cocktail. This isn't a speed test. No, not strength. Wisdom. The tomato. Intelligence is knowing that a tomato is a fruit, not a vegetable. Wisdom is knowing how to prepare it in a salad. With that in mind, I'm going to ask you to give me a wisdom check, please. With your
Is there,
tools.
Advantage?
Yes.
Wisdom is knowing not to put it in a salad.
Oh, yes, that too. That too. Well, yeah, my family put
Oh,
baby
a fruit
tomatoes in a
salad.
salad. Yeah, I feel you. But Twist, yeah, that is an excellent roll. You pluck a bit of items here and there. Some it's strange. You weave all of these various drinks together, and you heighten it with an olive here, and you actually like squeeze the olive down so the juices come out into the drink, and you sprucing this ale up by taking rid of the foam and measuring out each portion of the liquid exactly, so that the sourness of the ale doesn't get him to cough again, but instead should be a much smoother combination while still warming up his chest. And for all intents and purposes, you believe you've made an excellent drink. You hand it over
There's
to
one
him.
more final touch. You
Okay.
see, like the punk just put down the fireproof goggles, and then putting one more substance, lighting up, and the fire come out for a moment, just only a second, and like, all right, this is yours.
What was that final thing you added? What did you add?
Probably just like not the actual component that would affect the drink, but for sure.
Okay, but you've given him goggles to wear.
No, I put my fireproof goggle to make sure that it doesn't like run right into my eyes.
Okay. Alright, so this guy basically looks at it as, despite how impressive you've made your drink to look, he's tried many things and he seems like he's downhearted, like there's nothing to lose, but nothing he's gonna gain from this, so he just shrugs and he brings his pale lips to the drink as he takes a glug, and another glug. And he puts it down. And he just takes his palms and he just rubs his mouth as all that like stain there. He's just basically like, oh, I was hoping for something a bit different, but I don't really feel all that. Wait,
Larry?
oh, hang on. What the? What? Oh! Oh! Woo! Woo! And he just starts like suddenly just like convulsing, and a smile comes out as if it comes from a madman, and suddenly kind of builds until he's crying. And as he does so, his pale hands start erupting in life as he basically just like starts banging the desk beside him, and he kicks his feet as he just basically just goes like, Jesus, I feel like I'm living through my hair! What is this? Oh my
Well,
god! Yeah.
this thing is a flaming mold, and it was known in my tribe to have a possible chance of curing one depression.
He's just like, I only had the one! It just was so shit at the time! Oh my god! And he just like squeezes his scalp as he just like rolls the like decayed, crepit, pale skin that seemed to be flashing in his cheeks with a very subtle bit of red, which is very good for just a little bit of brewery reworking, as he basically just like goes, oh! I don't believe it. I can see without being blurred. I can see all the colours again. Holy shit, I can breathe. Holy shit. And he goes forward to you, Pong. He basically goes forward and he grabs your hand as he just goes, holy shit. God, get me more of that.
All right. And Pong is proceed to write down the recipe and then just go into him and whisper like, the last part where the flame come out, that's for the gimmicks. Don't worry about that.
He kind of takes a moment to kind of dwell on that. And he just is like, huh. Well, I don't care. I feel brilliant. I've never felt so beaming with life. God! Anyway, Jesus, fuck Hammond. Let's get your stuff back to your place. And with that, he busts out of the door, slams it on the way out as it smacks against like the nearby wall and kind of shatters the window a little bit, breaking it off, as the barkeeper goes, "Hey, hang on, you crazy son of a bitch!" But before that point, he's already taken your cart and he's dashed it up the way of the dragon, up towards the trade ward, and he's going up the high road straight to Troll Skull Manor with all your beer in tow. And you begin to chase after him, I imagine.
Yep. I'm sure if I can't chase him, I'm definitely gonna use my key for it.
Oh yeah.
Assuming that I literally can't chase him.
You can chase him.
Yeah.
As you're kind of running by, you're coming up the high road as to the right of you, you're crossing towards what is known as Lamp Street, and over to the side, you can make me a perception check.
Oh boy.
This may be a disadvantage because you're running by. Oh, very nice. Over at Lamp Street, you see a horse, a draft horse, that is currently saddled up and like put to the side of like on this main roadway, as it basically seems to be talking quietly, and basically just says oh my back. Oh, it hurts so much. But after you've caught even as much as that little glimpse, you continue to just like chase after this guy, and you figure you catch up with it later, but you basically think you witnessed a talking horse.
Huh.
Oh, the horse.
Is it a talking horse, or I'm probably on? Maybe something is within that drink that affect everyone.
Maybe.
I mean,
hope
we
not.
know there's a talking horse that exists around here that we were supposed to be looking for. So
So I'm gonna mark that place. So you said Lamp Street, right?
That's right. Very
All
good.
right.
Excellent. And you chase after him until you find him like already back at Troll Skull Manor, and by the time you're there, he's already unloaded everything, put it in your cellar, and he's like sat there tapping and like smacking his thighs as he's currently kind of like dancing to some kind of music he's imagining in his head, as he's so full of beans at the moment.
Thank you so much. I hope that we'll make ourselves good, healthy competitors.
He basically goes, "Hey, not so fast." Oh wait, no, you gave him the ingredients,
Yes.
so he's basically just like, not a problem. Hammond was a dick anyway. Yeah, so if I get you to make this and I get a cut, is that right?
Yeah.
All right, done. And he's just basically like, "I'll see you tomorrow." And with that, he's just like, "I've got some shit I need to catch up with." Woo! And he basically just starts running down the Delzerin Street as you are left with your rest of the time. This is your back at the street. You see, not only do you see Razuf currently like going up a ladder with some kind of reptile-like tail in his mouth, you also see that you also hear your Dragonborn S basically going, "Ah! What the hell?" And yeah, you basically just see that scene while we will briefly deal with Megara because I've overdone the timer. Megara,
Yep.
you wanted to find somewhere in the North Ward, wasn't that right?
Yep.
So you're pretty close to home here, so you don't need to go that far. I'm gonna yawn. Oh, Jesus. So you don't necessarily need to go too far before you find a variety of bakers. This one definitely caters to nice, fanciful sort of sweet rolls and baking and whatnot. You can see that there is sweet rolls that are assembled as a sort of cylinder, and the icing that's put to the top of it gives it the impression of a candle that's dripping wax. While elsewhere, you can see that there is like formations of turtles that have their like bread sort of spread in a way to give the impression of their shells. And you can also see the impressions of various other sort of animal life-likeness. And within, you can see that there is this, there is a couple, a female and male, pair of dwarfs who have both shaved all of their beards off. They've gone to
Well,
great
yeah.
pains to appear rather human, but they are by stature very dwarf-like. And they're currently there, kind of holding hands, going, and they're just like really disgustingly sugary sweet, like rubbing noses together, as they're basically like,
So Megara just does a sort of like a polite like.
and basically the pair of them don't take that little cough, and they're just so entranced with one another at the moment, and they're holding hands, looking at each other, as they're basically just being like, well, actually, they are speaking Dwarvish. Do you speak Dwarvish at all?
Nope.
All right, so they're muttering some intangible guttural, well, no, not guttural, but heavy consonants, sort of like "Delzudil, hapopash near," or something like that, as they're just
Yeah.
seemingly talking sweet nothings to one another.
Excuse me?
The female turns round gently, and she smiles. She just goes, "Oh, hello there, love. Sorry to have kept you waiting so long." And the husband definitely is like smiling broadly. He's just going, "Oh, forgive us. We've just been renewing our vows yesterday, haven't we, my sweet?" And he just like comes round to the side of her hip and starts. He doesn't squeeze her ass, but he's gone around and he's kind of like shook up her stomach to the side in like a enthusiastic sort of gesture, and she's gonna say, lay off, lay off. We haven't been able to keep our hands off each other all day, but not even in front of the customers." He just goes, "Oh, I can't help it. You're the finest creature in the world." And basically, they're about to like start falling upon one another again if you don't keep them distracted.
Yeah. Well, yes, I'm. I have a very particular question I would like to ask of you.
Oh, please, love, go right ahead. Welcome to our little humble little bakery. Hey, Darren, get your hands off already. Jesus. And she basically just goes, "What'll be your question, dearie?"
Well, you see, I'm a bit of a hobbyist when it comes to baking,
Oh, are
and
you? Oh, that's lovely to hear.
I just I would like to know where. Well, first I would actually like to, try some of your goods, and she's just gonna have like a couple of like what's the general prices? Like, do they actually have prices on their stuff, or is it?
Oh, they do. It's all within the silver category. So
Yeah.
these are just like 1 silver, 5 silver, and they have like a little wedding cake, or rather just like a proper fancy cake, which goes to £1. But it's a proper thing you could get like 15 slices out of as like a sharing cake.
Yeah. Yeah. So she'll she'll buy a sweet roll, and she says, "I was, I'm new to Waterdeep, and I was just trying to figure out what's the best place to get the grain for my own baking, and I walked past this place and it just smelt absolutely divine."
And Devin, who you've managed to make out being the husband, basically goes,
Yeah.
"That'll be my wife. I got her some nice perfumes over from the market ward, and they come from Kalisham, but I gotta say, she smells radiant, don't you, my dear?" And she goes, "Yes, Darren, I do like them. You don't have to bring them up to everyone we talk to."
I mean the your baked goods smelt divine.
Oh, yes, yes. Well, that's all Darren's work there. He's the baker. I'm happy to be his humble assistant. And he basically goes, "Sweetheart, you do me too much justice. Were you not there last night putting the icing on? And you also got all of those little shapes, molds made out so you can make them into the lovely animals. Ah, what was the next one you said you were going to make? I'm going to make a woodpecker. I've not tried it before, but I want to do more birds because they're rather nice. And Darren responds, well, what about an axe beak? You know, they're pretty stalky birds. Imagine one that was sat down, squatted, feathers tucked in, axe beak aimed forward. You know, that would be somewhat easier to craft. And she goes, oh, they are cute sometimes. Maybe I want to do the small ones first. I think the children will like that one more. And he basically just goes like, well, we can talk about children later on. And she just goes, stop! I'm sorry, dearie. What was your question again?
So she says, yes, well, I was just, as I said, I'm a hobbyist baker, and the smell of your cooking, your baking, just made me want to know where you get your grains from.
Of course, that's what you asked. Oh, listen to me, I'm such a scatterbrain today. I tell you what it is, right? So, earlier yesterday, Devin and I were going down to the market's ward because we don't usually go that way. It was for the perfume, but also I was trying to figure out a little dress because there isn't that many dresses made for dwarf women, and that's not their fault, you know. This is Waterdeep. They can't cater to everybody all the time. We're not quite in fashion anyway. And Darren's just like, how could they not appreciate my wife's beauty? I mean, look at her. How come they haven't fought to get dresses made for dwarfs? I mean, seriously, what age are we living in? Oh. And she basically goes on, so we were down there and we were going to do our usual requests to get our flour in and whatnot, but it was after we didn't follow through with that because we were too busy trying to get some of the high street price discounts they had going on. Oh yeah, that was a good bit of saving, weren't they? Well, I wouldn't have spotted it because I was looking at a few of the boots that I liked that actually would fit me. But you, my cute Ruby, you are being very attentive looking for the discounts. And he just goes, nothing but the best, at the best price, mind you. Get you some of that extra foot spa you've been talking about. I do look forward to that. And with the money saved, maybe the both of us can go. Definitely, my love, definitely. And they start smothering cheeks again.
Megara is definitely the wrong person to try and interrupt.
I
people.
know. I'm really milking this, and I'm really exploiting you for this manner.
I don't like seeing happy people. Can we kill them and
Market, mention their street. They are over in let's see. They're over in Street of the Manticore, over here. If you want to mark them for later killings, please, by all means.
Adrian right now has been holding it in for a few days. Now that there's actually a working toilet, he's going to be sitting on that for a bit.
Oh, yeah. Well, once the gnome is out of it, perhaps.
Yeah.
Oh my! He didn't realize the gnome was still in the pipe.
You just hear after the fart just a small little. I knew this will be how I end. It was a good run, but all good things must have an end for the new beginning. I accept my lot in life. And you're letting one tear all the way through this while Razif is currently trying to hack open a giant lizard. But yeah, it is a working privy. It's all working. That a bit fun aside, Megara, eventually you get a fifth of the story each time before you get into a side tangent, and they basically tell you that the Bakers Guild, main outlet that deals with the flow of grain and seeds and other such, are dealt with in the trade ward. Over in the over to the north, over where there is this Blackhorn Alley right here. So very close by to River Street and the River Gate and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
So that you can make a note of where you may find these three guys, and you look at the time and you realize that you are a little bit behind. These two have talked forever, and you either buy a bunch of them here and make it back on time, or you buy a bunch of your supplies over at the trade ward, catch them before working hours are done, and you run back to Trollskull Manor with it and
Well,
cook while the people arrive.
yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, it is a little bit easier for her to travel around. She doesn't have to exactly walk along the streets and, get out of people's way. She just
Ah.
flies over.
True. You can fly. In fact, you're not the only flying pedestrian, to be honest. When you do find yourself flying around the place, every so often, I wouldn't say it's very frequent, but once in about 20 minutes of flying, you'll notice something floating through the air above you as well. Whether it be a carpet that seems to have a couple of boxes of some kind over the top of it, or you do find a dainty little lady on the back of a flying broom. Or perhaps even some drift globes that are hanging quietly without illuminating any light above the city. You will find that the airspace above Waterdeep does have activity that is active. It's happening.
Yeah, I would also assume that there'd also potentially be winged dragonborn.
Not
Maybe.
not so much everywhere.
Yeah, no, just
the-
like
they
every
are
now and then.
possible. You've just not seen them today.
Yeah.
That being said, one of the interesting things you have noticed today is randomly you see a floating chair, and this chair just slowly goes up, up and up, and you keep your tabs on it for the rest of the day. It just goes into outer space. There's nothing
Sounds
more
like a
to it than
wizard
that.
practicing levitate.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. So, anyway, yeah. You make your way, and because you do have a way over the traffic, you do go right down into Lamp Street. Was that where I said you were? No, it was somewhere a bit else. It was, Blackhorn Alley over here. And right out
Yeah.
here, this place is definitely a hodgepodge of huge wagon loads of heavy bags of grain and milled bits of flour, which are all leaking a little bit here and there, but there's so much moving through it. The cobblestones and pavements outside apparently look a bit like they are dusted white with the flour and whatnot, while on top of that there is a multitude of seeds. Now, not only are these seeds of the typical variety of which you can adore your bread in, but also it does have a variety of seeds that are very foreign. A druid would be a better guy to talk about these, but as a baker, you can make me a investigation check or a history / nature check, an intelligence check, let's call it, with your cookery tools, baker's tools.
Go. Okay. So. Wait. I don't really understand how this query system.
When you use your tools and it's set
Yeah.
as a query, it should ask you which one you want to do it as, and you just pick intelligence as
Yeah.
the skill.
Yeah, it's just like I always thought that it was supposed to also like be more of a benefit to your actual
Well, it does.
skill rolls.
It does add your proficiency bonus in as well in there if you have it, which you do. But minus in the intelligence. All right. So there are clearly foreign seeds that have come across the sea with exotic and unique flavors. What kind of flavors those could be described as? Unclear. But on top of that, the Bakers Guild also does deal with a collection of eggs that are currently being brought in, pasteurized sort of dairy in the form of butter, which is of course salted somewhat here before being resold on, and they also have a collection of salt in their vaults. And basically, to this warehouse, you're seeing these huge warehouses, these huge open wooden buildings that open up on either side of the road, having masses of wagons coming and depositing their load in systematically organized set of areas, and on the other side of the street, right in the middle of Blackhorn Alley, there are attendants that are measuring, that are checking, that are taking note, and putting it to other like individual couriers to individually give each load to each person that they are going to distribute it to. So you're kind of at a midway point here, and they're very busy.
Consider what will best complement the flavor of giant lizard.
Yes, very important.
So, I mean, she's not even going to consider the giant lizard. She's going to cook it up just because you guys.
I've got a
I've brought it
hankering
back.
for a giant lizard.
She's not actually going to really partake in that.
Aw.
Just because she found it in the sewer.
Yeah, probably should be telling people who did that.
No, we're telling them we found it deep underground because it's technically true. Just not
Yeah.
I guess.
That's going to make it sound like it came from, the dungeon underneath,
Oh yeah.
which is kind of exotic.
exactly. And just remember to use purified food and water, though.
Yeah. So she will she'll approach someone that she reckons looks like, a managerial type.
Tricky. There does seem to be a hive mind at play here of several individuals that are working and organizing as one. You try to discern like a higher up to it, but these seem to be a team that are working as one, and they are certainly like calling out. So they basically call out, "We've got a ruined shipment over here of flour over from the north. Mark that down half price. Also, maybe flag it as potentially diseased. Get a cleric here. Next up, what have we got here? We got about 5 units of salt, perfectly in condition. Find that guy who brought us that butchery guild member. He's gonna want this delivered right now, as he's got some of his wares that are going down. And they need to be salted ASAP. What's more, what have we got here? What have we got here?" And you just basically turn around and go, yes, hello. Excuse me, miss. This is not for pedestrians. If you haven't got business here, please take it elsewhere.
Oh, I do have I would like a shipment of grain.
All right then, miss. Who am I needing here for here? He snaps his fingers, trying to think about it. Jerry. Jerry, can you come over here, please, Jerry? You need to take over here. And before you, there comes this like 16-year-old lad, blonde hair with brown hazelnut eyes. He looks pretty fair, and he's very well dressed. He's very clean, and his shirt's all tucked in, as he wears his kind of like red and white kind of garb to him, with a reddish kind of jacket with a few black buttons to it. And
So basically, don't take this guy adventuring. He's going to be the first to die.
He's a sweet boy. Either way,
He's a
though,
red shirt.
he comes forward and he basically just goes, yeah, yes, what can I do? And he basically just says, "You need to attend to this, madam. Get her out of the court, get her backstage for a little bit, take 5 and take a note of the company she represents, put that onto the system, well, not on the system, put it into the ledger book, please, and get that done before the next hour. All right? Chop, chop." And the tiefling attendant that was the one who seemed like he was, right in the hush. He's already like talking to other people, a dwarf and an elf, a moon elf, who is working either side, as they basically are all talking pretty fast and going back and forth from one another. It seems to be a very intense job.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, the gentleman you speak to basically goes, "My name's Bran, by the way. What's your name, miss?"
I'm Megara.
And he basically is just like, "Oh, yeah, okay, right." He just basically takes out, he just like opens up his collar, and he like opens up his shirt a little bit as he uses the white of his shirt, and he basically says, "What company are you representing?" And he basically starts writing in the inside of his shirt.
I'm a representative of the Troll Skull Manor, and we are opening up a tavern there. So,
Troll Skull Manor. All right. So yeah, we'll. When do you need this order by, and what do you need?
well, she says just for now she says just some wheat for basic baking, which I will be able to, if possible, carry with me for now. But from here on, regular deliveries of, and she just lists off the sort of more typical stuff that you'd expect that for cooking and baking.
Yeah, very well. That's fine. Essentially, what I want you to declare is a kind of money expenditure that you want
Yeah.
spent, and what time period you want it spent.
Okay, so I'll probably say a monthly thing.
Yeah.
So I'd say you go through, a supply of flour in about a month. And she's gonna start on what's the average price, would you say? Or would
Price?
she know like price? Like
Oh, price. So essentially, to cover a month's worth of food and baking goods, these are in ware like form, so they should be able to last
Yeah.
you quite a bit. Uh, it's going to cost you about 300 gold for that whole collection.
damn.
It is expensive, but that does accompany for what is expected to be, selling it on for 3 times the price you bought it for,
Yeah.
or thereabouts. It might be even a higher ripoff. You never know.
Mhm. Okay. That's basically going to be all the gold that we've been given gone if I do that.
Well, it is for a month's period, so it
Yeah.
does equal out.
Which means that if she's going to make that up, she's going to have to get uh,
Hard working.
baking. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to get bacon. But you will have all the ingredients that you want to use in the head of time because, it will come up that I'm like, do you have what you need to make this? And you're going to be like, yeah, I've declared it all. This is everything I've wanted
Yeah.
for this month. And yeah, that's sorted. You're all set. And
Okay.
basically, this guy basically goes, and got it. And he finds a little space in the page book as he basically is writing on the inside of the cover itself because there's no page space. And he basically just goes, right, Mr. Megara, Trollskull Manor, North Ward, gotcha. We can get a shipment out to you today. We've got everybody on the floor right now who could be sending a courier your way. So leave that with me, and I'll see what I can do, okay?
Okay.
Thank you very much for our patronage. Please have a lovely day.
And she just, she gives him a little thank you and a smile and takes off.
He kind of just is like, my name was Bran, by the way, and if you did want to put a name forward to the Bakers Guild for me, Bakers and Cookers Guild, that you may rate me in one of their ledger books as maybe being a helpful individual.
Yeah.
Wait, Miss McGarr, come back.
Yeah.
You start playing off.
She would stop and she's like, don't worry, Bran is such a. I mean, Bran is a memorable name. It's just like the cereal.
I thought you were about to say. I thought you were about to say Bran's a name, and I just fly off.
Yeah,
Brazen is his middle name.
Brazen.
no.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh, my editors, please put in some Bran Brazen right here. Just spin that
He
around the
has-
screen.
He has the perfect name to be working at a.
Oh my God, he
Bakers Guild.
does. Yeah, excellent.
This is true.
I changed my mind. I want a really I want Leonardo DiCaprio in Atlantic with a raisin Bran head, please. That's what I want. That's what I want. Right, so Megara, you quickly take to the skies and you make your way back to your place. Somehow you've pulled it out of the bag. You've got food, you've got alcohol, you've got a working toilet, you've got customers, you've got everything you need, and they're all steadily arriving. Megara, it's time for you to get cooking. Supplies are coming in bit by bit, but you get started right away, and you're able to get a little bit of headway as people start trickling in. Razif, you have. Where do you want to put your large giant lizard? Where do you want to put your giant lizard?
Honestly, it would probably have to cook outside with how big it is, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
cook it over a bonfire or something.
Yeah,
Well,
definitely.
either it's outside or it's in the kitchen.
I
Because you
mean,
can't do it out here.
it can be in the kitchen, but it will take up all the kitchen, and you're going to get a lot of supplies coming in.
So yeah,
Uh,
we just
yeah, we-
literally stab a big stick through it and roast it over a fire.
That's all fine.
And
Outside.
in fact, Magara would also use this outdoor fire to also create, will bake what is known here as damper or bush bread.
Ooh, okay.
It's basically it's a more sort of hearty bread that you cook by, burying it in the actual ash of a fire.
Mm. Keep in
It's
mind you're
basi-
catering to water havians, so
Yeah. It's delicious though. That's the thing. It's exotic and delicious.
Having had it, it is actually pretty good.
Well-
it's a real thing.
we'll see if their sense of pride won't scoff at it too much before actually being able to give it a try, But yeah,
Okay.
There's just an apple in the mouth of the giant lizard too.
of course.
Spit roasting outside, yeah.
Yeah, of course. An apple will very easily be hidden inside that giant lizard, so you may need
It's
a
like
bushel.
6 apples.
Yeah, you may
Yeah.
need a collection of apples here to stuff its huge mouth. Absolutely. But with that, yeah, the party guests begin to come in. Various white-collared people coming in, all of which very dignitely, handing you their coats over to Razif, I suppose, as they just imagine that Razif will know what to do with them without being told.
We don't have a room to put them in, do we?
You've
We
got
can just take them upstairs.
yeah, you've got rooms, I guess.
Yeah, we have spare room.
Yeah.
Just don't leave them anywhere near Farrelson, or I'll just loot all the jackets.
Very true.
Well, as everyone are busy out on the first floor, I'm gonna go down and doing my the cocktails on the house.
Oh, on the house. Well, it was all inclusive, so they have paid for
Yes.
all the alcohol, all the food up ahead. So, it's just a free bar for them. That's all they're seeing it as.
Adrian is basically just being a waiter, helping pass out food and drinks. Just like, so how does everything taste? Are you having a good time? Type deal.
Oh, excellent, yes. Given your sort of proper noble background, but also your more gentle, relaxed demeanor, you fit the role rather perfectly. Give me a kind of persuasion check. Yeah, give me a persuasion check. This is not a very serious role. Yeah, it would have been serious if you got that, not one. But essentially, the crowd are very receptive to you. They smile, they tip their glass, and they basically just go, "Yes, fine little place, fine little place. I like what you've done with it. I see it's it's a fixer upper, but it's got some charm to it." And you have some conversations that go down like that. And you also have people that welcome you to Waterdeep. They warn you that the city can be a bit much for newcomers, but that in time they can't see why you can't be as local as the rest of them. Well, again, not maybe to you, but because you're local. But Ponk,
Yeah.
maybe Razif, maybe stuff like that. But yes, the evening continues to go down. Your giant. Hang on. What am I doing? What am I doing? There we go. So your giant lizard is currently like in your kitchen, I suppose, being prepared with some a bundle of apples, and he's certainly looking kind of cooked at the moment. He's got a large skewer for him. Magara, you are also like jumping over him back and forth as Embrick is like while you're doing your bushfire, Embrick kind of waves at you down the street, basically notioning that your new oven is ready.
Yeah.
Also, do not forget, purify food and water.
Yeah. Well,
This is
I don't have
this
that.
is critical.
Falzen
She
comes
Razeth
walk-
yeah.
does.
Falzen comes walking down, and he basically goes, "Leave this to me. Your handy cleric will be able to easily purify this underground dwelling creature. You'll add it to the bill later when you have a look at it. We'll
Yeah,
discuss it
she-
later."
She basically does tell Adrian, it's like, just you handle him when he's of course going to be asking for money for this, so you handle that, please.
Hmm.
If you're going to do this, Frolson, I am not paying for it. And so either you can go back upstairs and ignore this, or you
Uh,
can do it and not be paid. Your choice.
He basically just goes, well, my friend, I mean, he paid for everything up front. Don't you think he deserves a proper cleric to purify this tainted meat? And I mean, there's a lot of good meat just to go to waste just because somebody has a bit of a pride issue, you know? I mean,
You're right. He does deserve someone to properly purify it. Razeth, can you purify that, please? I'll give you 5 gold.
he looks at you with his arms crossed. He's just like, someone's gonna miss out on my super holy water soon.
I'm still salty at him about the bill.
Hey, excellent! I'm loving that you've used this exact spell. Do you have? I mean, you've got this prepared, so I assume you have the spell. But Razov, you're a paladin.
I think I'm pretty sure I can take it.
Yeah. You know,
Pretty sure I can.
you've got it. You do it.
Yeah.
Being
There
a rep,
wasn't any good spell, so I just took it.
yeah, you being a reptile yourself, seemingly have a way with this other reptile to turn him into a more delectable reptile, as you basically take away some of the scabs and scars that have festered with a bit of pus. As they just all kind of dissolve away into nothing, and everything about him just looks a bit more delicious now.
Yeah, and maybe fun make it the spell thaumaturgy? No. To take all the nasty shit from the sewers away.
Yeah. He's dead, but he still kind of his stomach kind of gyrates as he gives a bleh, and it just all kind of just rolls out onto the floor here in a spluttering heap of bile before you and Magara's feet.
Prestidigitation, that was.
Prestidigitation, clean it up. Yep.
That's my specialty.
You know the spell
Yeah.
effect is only meant to last for 6 seconds, right?
Well, prestidigitation can the effect of it cleaning things, or it can also soil them, is permanent.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. Excuse me. Excuse me.
Prestidigitation does like 8 different things.
As
Yes,
it should.
it's. I've once heard of it referred to as minor wish.
Excellent. Yeah, you guys have a shindig of an evening with bush fires being made, a roasted giant lizard waiting to be brought out for Angharen's Day, and your oven backloading with patrons able to go upstairs to the privy. The place is a nice, gentle atmosphere. People are getting nice and drunk through Ponk's creation at the open bar, as they mostly will drink anything that is handed to them and left as a bit of a surprise, and it's a bit of the party evening trick to guess the surprise. And yes, the father, who has drank a little bit now, and he's quite comfy with you guys, he basically just goes, "Games! let's have some games! And he just like stamps his fist to the table, and the rest of the crowd basically raise their flagons, and they basically go, "Yeah, games! Let's have some games! Give us some quizzes! Give us some, give us that pole thing you gotta go under. Yeah, I like that one."
I have an idea. Do we have? What are our walls made of?
Wood.
Does anyone say games?
Wood.
Yip, yip.
Is there any wall that's somewhat? Actually, do we have a barrel or something like an empty barrel?
Ponk does have an empty barrel, yeah.
Here is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna grab one of those empty barrels, use
Hmm.
prestidigitation, put like a dartboard on it,
Ah, hey!
and then I'm gonna whip out my daggers and set them
Ah.
down and have like a game of basically a game of darts but with daggers on the barrel dartboard.
Giving people daggers when they're drunk.
Yeah. And
Exactly, which is
Always
why
fun.
everyone is standing behind them and it's on the opposite side of the room, so nobody's at risk.
The mother basically brings her child closer as she holds him closer, and he's just like, "Mom, I want to play. I want to throw the daggers." And she's just like, "Not till you're 12."
You know what we
Sorry.
really need? We
Hmm.
need beer pong.
Ah, yeah.
All right, here it is.
Uh,
Coming right up.
yes, so everything's going exceedingly well. Mr. Razov, as the man on patrol, after helping Embrick bring your new forge, or not forge, excuse me, your new oven back into the stone kind of chimney, it's all painted black over with a sort of fire-resistant kind of tar. It's kind of sticky to the touch, you're not sure what it is, but Embrick explains that it'll help it last twice as long than anything anybody else could do. So don't you worry about it. And tell that pretty lady that she's welcome to join us any time. Oh shit, hang on. And he just realizes, we got invited, didn't we, Avi? Yes, we did. That's why we got dressed up, Embrick. And he just basically slaps him on the back and he just goes, "Ha! Stupid me. Right, let's get this in there and, oh, I heard there's some kind of dagger throwing game. That sounds like it. You think you'll allow a great axe? I got one ready for the job." And Avi just basically goes, "No, Embrick, we're not bringing the great axe. Not to this one." And he basically just goes, "Avi, come on. It wasn't my fault the dog was feeling jumpy that day, now was it?"
Oh god.
Oh no!
Oh my.
It was asleep, Embrick. It was jumpy and it was asleep. And he just basically goes, he was jumping in his sleep, alright. It's not my fault anyway.
if Megara is like within earshot of this, you just see the absolute look of like terror and then the tears starting to well up as she's assuming the worst.
You do
Adrian's
hear
just
this.
quietly wondering, I wonder how dog tastes.
Wow.
I just
Because
tell him,
now that I've developed into just kind of eating whatever dies with the giant lizard over there.
oh. Well, I just tell him we don't have any dog, but be careful of Punk. He
Oh no, I don't say it. I'm just thinking.
Wow, jeez. So yeah, Embrick and Avi. Well, Avi stays nearby the wife, as he just basically prefers the chill corner. While Embrick is with some of the other rowdy friends of the guy that commissioned you out, as they share off this lovely little lady. There is a very pretty lady here, by the way. No one knows quite her name, but she seems to be a half elf with a very down to earth look. And while she's here, gently drinking, she seems to be reading a book. It's not a fan fiction X novel, it just seems to be something elvish. Meanwhile, these guys are still rowdily starting to have some fun throwing some daggers into a dartboard you guys have made.
Since I'm acting as like the waiter, I would probably see this person and see the book, and I read Elvish. So what is
do you want to just talk to her, or do you want to read an excerpt from it first before it goes further?
I'd like to just be like, pardon, in Elvish, I will say this. Pardon me, but what's that you're reading?
She basically looks up from her book and she just basically goes, this was Golden Hair's fourth volume of his long series of the turmoils of forgotten love. Have you read it?
I've heard of it, but sadly, I've been somewhat busy. I haven't had the time to read it yet.
You read any of the prior volumes beforehand?
Have I?
The answer to that is no. You've had serious matters at hand concerning life and death of family members, so you know.
Yeah, probably. I'd figure as much.
Yeah.
No, I really haven't had much time for reading recently. I'd very much like to, but I just kind of like shrugged defeatedly.
The woman actually just takes a moment to look up from a book properly, and she does look up at you, and she looks like she takes another look, like a proper look at you, and make an insight check to sense one's motive.
I am gonna fail. I was correct.
She seems to like you.
Okay then.
Basically, she just like some. I take it that since you're organizing this party, that you wouldn't be able to sit down and read it with me for a little bit, would you? And she strokes her hair back over her ear, her nice little pointed ear, as she basically looks up at you with keen interest.
I just look around at everyone distracted by throwing my daggers at the board, and basically everyone is pretty much set right now, from what I understand. Correct?
They are, yes.
Yeah. I suppose I have a moment or two.
She just goes, thanks for making time for me. I appreciate it a lot. Well, not being rude or ungrateful, but sometimes it's hard to find people you just click with,
So you said I think she likes me, right?
That's correct.
As like a this is an important distinction. As like just a person, or as like in another manner. Either way, I'm going to treat her like just a friend.
Oh,
Is the best way to put it.
Oh, that's the worst way to put it. That's the most disappointing way to put it. But basically,
there are backstory reasons for this, as you're aware.
Friend zone before anything even developed.
Oh,
there are backstory reasons. For
yeah,
this.
there are. But basically, she just goes and
But
says,
just if I think it's more, it would be a lot more awkward. So
she's young, she's available, she's just, keeping her options open. Can't blame a woman in this dangerous time in the world to just be like, just keeping her options open. That's all.
by the way, Punk is single.
While that goes on, Punk brews Razuf. Everything in there is getting a bit steamy and rowdy, and of course you made sure nobody attacks each other, but they don't look like they're getting close to that. No one's having fights within each other. Everybody's friends of the family, and all they're doing right at this point is yelling and going, "Hey! Happy Young Aaron's Day! Blessed be the man who founded Waterdeep!" And they take drinks and whatnot, and it's just really loud shit that eventually you decide to just take a lap around outside, Does that seem fair?
Right. That's cool.
So you take a lap, and it's a dark little night where you can hear that there are several people celebrating Anharan's Day. Several of them have lined up violets, as you guys have managed to pull off doing. Kind of comes free with half of the deliveries you guys have managed to receive. That everything has just got a little token to just show admiration for the man who really established the political system in Waterdeep, being the Open Lords and that material system. Before then, it was just overriding monarchs and pirate lords. So you take a lap, dwelling on this. You see a figure run down the street. It's very small. You think you've seen it try to be at your window before.
The shit gnome has escaped.
Oh no! The shit gnome has decided to stay with you guys, as he seems to have precipitation himself. But he's joined in the fun with you guys. But no, this seems to be some other small little fellow. Can't be any bigger than a child, which can mean one of three races: human, dwarf, or gnome.
I do nothing. I stay by the house and just look out.
Very well. For the rest of the evening, you guys celebrate. Everybody gets to eat as you bring forward your flayed giant lizard. The crowd goes silent as you plop it. You know what? You don't plop it. You curl it across the table at right angles. You just like cut it down the middle, and its lower portion stretches the bottom of the table, and its upper portion stretches through the top of the table. And it is delicious. People love this skin. It's beautifully charred. They compare it to like oven-baked salmon with the skin still on. They compare it to that, but of a steakier kind of flavor. It's wonderful for them. They love it. And also, they have it with a few bits of baked potatoes as well that you've also oven cooked, which was a simple arrangement, but with some of the butter all together, you basically got a giant lizard jacket potato dinner.
I
Sound
asked
good?
the half elven woman, how is it?
She basically just goes, I thought I would be against it, but actually, this aroma coming from this animal, it's really nice. It's really good. And she basically just like she took a bit of tongue, which is a nice rich substance, and she puts that with some of the soft potato, and she basically just has a dainty little mouthful, and she just goes, mmm. Oh, that is nice. It feels fresh. When was this thing caught? It's really fresh. I can't. Oof, it's delicious.
Earlier today, actually. I helped kill it myself.
Really? Wow, that's fascinating. You must be quite the adept at survival in our little city. She gives you a smile.
Adept enough to get by, I suppose.
Quite the trend-setting individual. And her eyes linger on you longingly.
I just take a swig of whatever alcoholic drink I have there and ignore the lingering gaze until it is not lingering.
Well, as the evening goes on, eventually this woman does get the idea, and she is somewhat paved, rather. But, you discuss about books for a bit. She'll get over it. That being said, the evening is a success, and you guys party all the way to sunrise, where the father carries his sleepy son. Embrick is asleep over a table, drooling, while Avi has brought a small blanket and cuddles him with it as they sit there at the counter. He not being drunk, but happy to stick by his husband's side, while the rest of the commoners, or rather some of the other nobles, basically had to leave early as it's a work day tomorrow. But all in all, they are very glad for the event. They will be sure to tell their friends about it, and you guys basically succeed running your tavern for a bit with a successful evening, and get the full sum of the rest of the payment, which I believe was another 3,000 gold, was it not?
I think the total was 3,000, and we already got it. We already got what would be 650, so that would make it. I can't math right now.
That would be
2,350 gold.
very good. He basically dishes that out, and he gives you all firm, tidy greetings as he's just like, this went off better than could have expected. We've been wanting to splurge out like this for a while. Oh, I better take this little
And,
one home. But
I'm sorry.
go
Did
on.
I ever get the name of the half-elven woman?
You did not.
I-
Despite all your talk,
Okay.
you did not get the name. You were too busy just distracting yourselves from the subject of her eagerness towards you.
Fair enough.
And with that, you guys basically tie off the evening. All that's left of your giant lizard is the bones, as he is definitely picked clean. And Megara, you have everything kind of sorted in your pantry, given everything that went on. Ponk, you have your alcohol sorted, and your finer ales definitely were a great blast, which was the Ice Queen, wasn't it? That was one of them.
Yep.
That went off very well. People felt bubbly, lightheaded, and felt in a very jovial mood. It went exceptionally well. All in all, a complete, total, and absolute success.
I would just like to say, I want to mount the lizard skull on the
You...
wall.
Oh! Totally! This is your place! Mount it
We go-
across the wall.
Have we
I
named
feel like
fuck.
we should just have a wall of all of the things we've killed
Fuck yeah!
that are reasonable to display in public. Like, I'm not gonna mount the Duragar skull. That
Yeah.
go back down to the sewers to find the fucking Duragar and carve out its skull and mount it. Like,
Goblin heads and shit.
like beast skulls, stuff
Yeah.
like that. That is obviously not humanoid, because that just makes us
Well,
look like serial killers. If
It does.
We could all,
do that.
we could always find other potential trophies that aren't just skulls, like say anything particular, like say maybe I don't know, like we find
Like a
a
dragon
rather
pod.
interesting gem during
Yeah,
a
yeah.
quest or something. Yeah.
Excellent.
I don't
yeah.
know about that because that's valuable, and I don't want stuff
Yeah.
to get stolen.
Well, you know, it's sort of like stuff that you can put on the mantelpiece.
Yeah. I hear you. Like
Yeah.
like in pretty cool looking great hammer or something we found.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. Well, excellent. But yeah, while you guys adjourn back to your den room, which is a great little place to talk about your success and drink to the future that is to come, you guys all pass out for a nice, long, well-deserved sleep. Then the following morning comes. The morning starts out beautifully. With a little bit of overcast coming in on a couple of clouds, the morning starts off golden orange with the dawning of the sun. This cold, blustery day, post Angharen's Day. And people are outside some of the window shops, slowly and groggily taking down some of their banners, some of their amendments. Unfortunately, your place was not visited by the Open Lord Lariel Silverhand herself, but some other lucky chap may have got the fortune to have seen her. About
I got a feeling maybe did, or is the Open Lord such? I mean, yeah, she's the Open.
oh,
It's the
Hey.
half elven moment I awkwardly
Yeah.
oh, what
Yeah.
if it was? What if she was, and she was hiding her presence, hoping to find a man?
That would be very awkward.
That would be
because that would have been a lot of
hilarious.
money.
Oh, that would be so funny if it wasn't the case. Who knows? Who knows what the truth was? You never caught her name, and she vanished by the end of the night. Anyway, moving on.
Just like 4 sessions from now, it's revealed it actually was.
Yeah, of course. It's gonna come out as you need your ass saved, and she was just like, "Hello again. Yes, it's me." Didn't
Just
want
in case I'm gonna read all those books.
Maybe there's a hidden message she signed in the library. It's like, "You
I'm
should
not even-
not leave me at a bar alone."
Not even joking though, like legitimately those books sounded interesting to Adrian, so he would like to try and buy
Yeah.
them.
That's fine. So, yeah, the morning has started, and the alleyway of Trollskull Manor is lit up with activity. people are not shy to come down this way of the street, and children are certainly playing outside as, they didn't stay up late. And they are just all happy. Your place is no longer haunted, so this kind of alleyway is kind of, got a second burst of life. Life is coming back in this area.
We're raising property values.
You are. Windows rattle as the roar of an explosion fills Charles Skull Alley. Charred bodies and anguished screams fly through the air, and a thick cloud of acrid smoke billows outward from the blast, which seems to have occurred right outside your door.
You said fucking bodies?
I said fucking charred bodies. Maybe midway part of this, sudden explosion that's happened, they were charred and got one last fucking before they utterly died. But let's presume not.
Shit.
Let's presume it's just charred bodies. But there is a massive explosion of fire that has erupted right at your door. Right where the festivities were otherwise held, now is a place of death and burnt. Death and fire.
It's still the same. It's still at night.
No,
the
it's
midget
morning
set
now.
a fucking bomb.
Morning. All right. All right.
The midget set a fucking bomb.
That's a wake-up call if I ever heard one.
Yes, it absolutely does shake you at your beds. You all wake up with a start as your house rumbles. It is a sudden fierce vibrating that rattles the woodworks. The chimney soot shakes out as your front door also kind of gets burnt up in an eruption of fire. And you guys are kind of called upon to sort out your own place immediately. You can't have your place go up in fire. You've just got it off the ground.
Okay, what? I can snuff out something the size of a small campfire with prestidigitation.
Well,
so I would just keep
get started.
Keep using that to snuff out as many little fires as I can.
Yes.
And just I'm guessing I'm not actually going to be able to stop a fire of this size, but at least hold it back.
Well,
and I would just yell out, get some water.
Well, fortunately, you are able to, because while the explosion was enormous, and it was cataclysmically shocking for this time of day, all that's left over is smaller fires, as the main blast sort of blew itself out, as all that remains is small bits that are lingering to some of the woodwork of your front door.
So I can see the bodies on the street, right?
Yeah, as you open up, you can see that there is a multitude of young, old, and others that are basically around here. It is not good.
I look if everyone survived, and if anyone survived.
Yeah, I would
yeah.
just yell out, Razeth Farlson, do what you can.
There are many who were alive, you guys included, but there are several who are basically screaming and crying at the moment as they're looking on to see the horror that has just come forward. So you have you have right now, you come right out and you can see that there is just this series of at least 10 charred bodies that are currently down there. One of which, interestingly, Razov, you think you recognize as the guy you saw running away before. Not as a caster, but as the victim.
Whoops. Is she alive?
No, these are very much dead. Lying face up.
Alden, I think they're all dead. I can't feel their pulses.
Yeah, you bet you can't feel your pulses. They're probably still very warm to the touch. They smell like a giant lizard.
Oh god,
Do any
I
of
just
them have the snake tattoo or the lines for the Xanathar's gang?
You can make me an investigation check.
Sure thing.
Ooh! Alright. Okay. This is actually very special, Adrian. Alright. Very nice. All
I'll
right,
take
so
it.
there was 11 people that died here. This was a crit investigation. This is the fucking skill that really hangs on what you know about this sort of event. So with a crit, I'm going to tell you a bunch of stuff.
He
Firstly,
goes into his mind palace.
Yeah,
he
all
really
right, Sherlock.
does. He really Sherlocks the shit out of this. So firstly, of the 11 dead are the following. One elderly female human who you deconstructed was just out for a walk. Two cloaked male humans clad in leather armor with shield, long swords, and by God, they both have snake-like tattoos. Furthermore, there are two female humans and one male half-elf dressed in plain clothes. These were, and because you catered to a few of them, you actually recognize one of the male half-elves as one of the very people you hosted for last night. So you know these are all residents of the North Ward. And he just got caught while he was going to do a morning run. He told you last night that he does a run nearby this place each morning, and he's got caught up in the blast of it. One male gnome, which seems out of place, wearing a burnt cloak and clutching a dagger. On top of this, the saddest sort, you can see that there are two charred bodies of female halflings, who, at the time, must have been playing a flute and a fiddle because those broken instruments are nearby them, or at least in the scene. And two male halflings who are also nearby to the scene, who died with them. But one of the dead males had got the winged snake tattooed on his right forearm, while the dead gnome has a dry waste around his boot and cloaks. And actually, because you went down in the sewers, you and Razuf, and you critted this investigation, you recognize this distinctly as somebody who has ventured into the sewers, and the fire has baked it to his lower portion of his body to the point where it's made clear evidence that he was in the sewers recently. And he also has a pouch on him that you can see contains 5 100 gold piece gemstones.
Should we?
Using my great powers of deduction, I am able to reason that he was paid to set off this explosion, however, was caught in it himself.
Oh no, with a crit investigation, you discern that he was the target.
The gnome?
Yes.
Wait, you mean the shit gnome is the target?
Yes.
He's
This is a different shit gnome than our shit gnome,
That's
though.
so right! I can't believe in one session we've already established 2 shit gnomes. They really are a race.
And
Chris-
you said he had 500 GP gemstones in a pouch, right?
He had 5 individual gemstones that are worth 100 gold pieces each, so rubies and sapphires of various kinds. And also, Chris Perkins, Mike Mills, get on it. I want to see a sub-race shit gnome, please.
I know which my backup is.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just note all this down, and I've literally noted all this down as well on a sticky note if you didn't hear the typing.
Oh, yeah, totally.
So I just note all this down.
Should we
Take the gemstone pouch.
Alright, I would like you to
Like-
give me a sleight of hand check, please, as there are others around you at this scene. There are other survivors here.
Well, I'm not like trying to openly. How do I put this? I'm not looting
Steal.
it for myself. I am taking it to like
Mm.
inspect it and see if there's anything else in it, if that makes sense.
There are other
you
commoners
still want
who
me
will
to-
make their own presumptions, and a wrong presumption
I
leads to a
am
mob
not-
mentality.
I'm literally putting it back after I look at it.
Oh, okay. Well, you can look
Yeah,
at it
yeah.
and you can inspect it and you can see everything, and then you put it back. You see the onlookers look at this, but they realize that you're not gonna steal. Yeah, you're gonna be a good boy.
I mean, if anyone else wants to steal it, fucking go for it. But
They
Can I
I,
don't.
use stealth first before sleight of hand?
Huh?
Can I use stealth first before sleight of hand? Because if Punk being a kobold, maybe he might.
Well, you guys are all investigating this scene, and everybody can see you're here. But you could do a sleight of hand to sneak something, even though you're being seen, and you can sneak it to a point where maybe nobody will see you do it. So I will ask for a sleight of hand check if you want to steal this this pouch.
Hmm. I
I
have
ain't
only a
taking it.
+3. Does anyone have inspiration?
I do not.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I
just
don't have either.
to clarify,
I-
the gnome didn't have any gang signs, right?
The gnome did not have any gang
He just had
signs. No,
indications he had been in the sewers.
that's right.
Okay. Yeah, the one with the gang signs was one of the cloaked male humans in leather armor with shield and long swords.
I don't know about the
Well, I
shield,
think
but
they both had it.
they were clad in leather armor, and they certainly looked rather shady. And they did have the oh God, help me out here.
The snake-like tattoo. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. Um, Now, at this point, about 20 minutes later, a collection of individuals comes forward. Now, between the residents, that includes Adrian and Adrian, you in particular will be able to recognize the following of Barnabas Blastwind being approached with a couple of constable veterans, 20 in total, as they're coming up carefully, while this guy who is in your handout now is making his way forward, and as you can see, he's got some excellent blonde facial hair going on. This guy is awesome. And just flanking around some of the veterans, you can see this guy, who I will ask you to make a history check for to figure out. But his handout is Scythe Cromley. Okay, so you really don't remember him, but Megara, you're local as well, so I'll allow you to make this check as well.
Okay. Unless I get like a high roll, I ain't gonna do too well.
Alright, so you actually know this guy is Safe Cromley, and you know that he is a retired sergeant of the City Watch, but he's worked in a lot of areas around here before, and he's worked all across Waterdeep, and he's just a very well-known, respected constable or former City Watch guy who essentially just is a friendly face that can't ever seem to find the time to retire.
So, knowing, like you had said, knew they were constables, I would relay to them all of the information I figured out.
Well, firstly, before you take the initiative, they do their routine situations. And you recognize Barnabas Blastwind, who I will explain, works for the Watchful Order of Mages and Protectors, who you are intimately familiar with. And he investigates crimes that involve the use of magic. He comes across prickly and secretive, and he only ever really is seen talking to Cromley about whatever he finds. He has a estate in the Sea Ward, as far as you can know. Outside that, he usually just is a magical investigator. That's really all there is to it from what you know. You don't know more outside of his personal life.
Okay, so being part of the Watchful Order myself,
Yes.
I would approach him
Yes, so
and
he basically...
try
go on.
and relay the information. Basically, introduce myself. Hello, I'm Adrian Fairbrand, part of the Watchful Order myself. I was
Yes,
here when this
Adrian!
occurred.
No, Adrian, I remember your family. Terrible for you to get mixed up in all this, isn't it?
Um,
At such an age
so-
where your magic was just beginning to show itself.
Yes, I was. Fortunately, I think Razeth and I were actually outside when it happened, and everyone else was asleep, right?
No, you were all
I remember
indoors.
correct-
You were all like,
Okay.
yeah, you were all
Okay,
indoors
we were
sleeping
all
and everything
indoors.
off, and this fireball
Oh, right,
came and woke you all the hell up.
our tokens were just over there, left over from the sewer. That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
So I just basically relay what happened, that it woke us up, everything I figured out about the crime scene, and my suspicions. Firstly, that the target of this was the gnome, and secondly, that it was most likely some sort of fireball spell or something of the like that did it.
He basically bolsters. He looks actually very calm. He looks extremely calm and collective, and between all that facial hair, all that luscious hair, and between all of his other guards and his thick glasses, he just simply calmly says, "Well, I'll be the judge of that," and he just goes to inspect himself.
Oh, I do also mention the gemstones, because I don't know if Punk did try taking them or anything, but I do know the gemstones were there and I didn't take them, so I will mention them to him. So if they're not there, then
I don't see
Yeah.
a sleight of hand roll done by Ponk, so the whole situation never happened. They just thought about
Yeah.
doing it, never did.
I
okay.
thought about it, but there's too many watchful eyes, and I'm a monk, not a rogue.
Hmm.
Joker will do it.
Well, yeah. Well, that aside, the City Watch definitely falls toe behind these lot, as a sure variety of them start to take up their feet and start making their way to cordon off the area, I suppose is the right term, and they basically just get their 20 bodies strong, looking around, making sure that nobody is entering who is not being watched, essentially. And yeah, overall they're just securing the whole area. Yeah, so that aside, with this whole place kind of cordoned off, and with you guys currently in the middle of this being investigated and basically intrigued, eyewitnesses starting getting rounded up, which include some of your neighbors. And of course, you're welcome to overhear some of this, as you're all being questioned of what you saw, what you were doing, how you were doing it, and just all of the essentials. And first up is Fala, who was just across on the street from you, and her windows to her grass house are certainly blown up. And they basically say, "I was watering plants in the greenhouse on the second floor of my shop when the blast blew out some of the windows. Luckily, I wasn't injured, though the smoke. For the smoke, I saw a cloaked man take something from the body of a dead gnome, then started limping away. He was badly burnt and casting glances over his shoulder, like he was afraid someone might be following him. He was headed towards the bent nail." And of course, when your friend Tally Fellbranch, the woodworker of the bent nail, is called to give his testimony. Or is he? Hang on. Well, he just went in the direction of the bent nail. There is a well, that's what you basically hear from one of your neighbors. Now, from here, I won't keep taking control. The guard continue to cordon off the area, as there has definitely been several murders, a magical catastrophe, and somebody needing to have the law come down upon them. But we'll have to work out who it was. The shady gnome, this weird guy that limped away but was caught in the blast radius, and some other mysterious figure that gets involved as they bring all of this firepower down onto your little Troll Skull Manor. And we leave this session today.